basically in prototyping model, a prototype is it is a model which requires that before carrying out the development of the actual software, a type of working model of the system should be built. Okay, so see here, for many types of projects there are several advantages of building a prototype, so before the actual product is developed. So whenever, if you are doing any real life project, you will see that it is very advantageous to use prototyping model. Okay, so an important use of a prototype can be to illustrate the input data formats, messages, reports, and the interactive dialogue to the customer. So my speed is okay to all of you, or should I? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whenever you face any problem, please say, okay, if you face that, ma'am, you are too much fast, then at that moment, stop me and tell me that you are not able to understand it. Okay. So see here, uh, actually this can be a valuable mechanism for gaining better understanding of the customer needs. So in this regard, we can say that the prototyping model turns out to be especially useful in developing graphical user interface part of a system. So whenever you are developing any software, if you keep on checking to the user or to the client that this kind of specifications we are providing in our software, then it will be easier for the client to understand, and also it will be easier for the developer or for the company to go through the feedback and do the exact requirement. Okay, so for the user it becomes much easier to form his opinion by experimenting with a working model rather than trying to imagine the working of a hypothetical system. Okay, so see here, so generally we use a model to illustrate to the response time of a hardware controller, efficiency of a sorting algorithm, etc. So another important situation where prototyping model can be useful, where the exact technical solutions to be adopted are unclear to the development team. So a developed prototype would help them to critically examine the technical issues associated with the product development. So for example, you can say that consider a situation where the development team has to write a compiler for the command language for a graphical user interface, and none of the team members has ever written a compiler before. So in that case, it can be seen that there is a technical risk. So this kind of risk can be resolved, or to avoid this kind of risk, by developing, we can use a prototype compiler for a very small language to understand the issues associated with writing a compiler for a command language. So you can build a compiler, okay, and you can run only few codes that and check whether it is working fine or not. Instead of building the entire system, you can build a small prototype. So once the programmer becomes confident in writing compiler for the small language, that programmer can use this knowledge to develop the compiler for the hardware controller. Like whenever you have seen, like whenever you are cooking at home, okay, so whenever you are, suppose you want to cook some new item, like when everyone cooks chicken in their home, everyone likes chicken, and especially girls love chicken and loves to cook chicken. So that's why those who are actually for the beginner or first time they have cooked chicken, so what they have done, instead of making, suppose you in your home you are having 5 family members, so instead of making the whole thing for 5 members, what they have done, they have done an experiment to do to make the recipe for one person only. If the recipe is correct, then they get the confidence to build to make that product for 5 persons. Okay, so that's what uh, generally software companies do using prototyping model to gain the confidence for the developer. They use such kind of demos. Okay, so that's why in such circumstances, prototype may be the best or the only way to resolve the technical issues. So the third reason for developing a prototype is that it is impossible to get it right the first time, and one must plan to throw away the first product in order to develop a good product later. So if you see that whenever you are making chicken for the first time, that for the first time you went to the kitchen and you want to make chicken. Okay, so what you will do for the first time, that's why to build your confidence, what you will make for only one people the food, and you will check that whether it is correct, everyone is giving good feedback or not, and based on the feedback you actually develop it. Okay, so for the in the next time you will see that the taste is much better, and you are making that chicken for more than one people. So in this way, actually this kind of feedbacks helps a person to develop his effort. Okay, so basically the prototyping model of software development is the first phase of a prototype. Sorry, just have a look at this. Okay? This is the prototyping model. Okay, so this is this is the diagram of a prototyping model. So here see, this is followed by an iterative development cycle. So in this model, prototype starts with an initial requirement gathering phase. So see here, again we are using an requirement gathering phase. Okay, phase. After that, see here, the next phase is the quick design. Okay, here the next phase is the quick design. So in the quick design phase, it is carried out and a prototype is built. Okay, so generally in this part we are designing a prototype which in short period of time. So that's why it is called quick design. So the developed prototype is submitted to the customer for evaluation. Now actually they see, they are building this prototype, they are designing this prototype, and they are building this prototype, and they are giving that thing to the customer. Okay, so in this phase the customer is evaluating the prototype. Okay, and based sorry, so here the developed prototype is submitted to the customer for his evaluation. So based on the customer feedback, the requirements are refined and the prototype is suitably modified. So see here in this phase, after this phase, we are moving on to refine requirements phase. In this phase, whatever the customer has given the feedback and whatever the requirement criteria the customer has given, based on that, the matching is done. Okay, whether it is matching the software or not, whether any faults are there or not. So if it is fine, then okay. If it is not fine, then we are again moving to this quick. See, this is a loop type of structure in which if this is not okay, then we will again move to the quick design phase. Okay, so this cycle of obtaining customer feedback and modifying the prototype continues till the customer approves the prototype. So unless the customer approves the prototype, it will keep on rotating this circle. Okay, and the phases will keep on going. So once the customer approves the prototype, the actual system is developed using the iterative waterfall model. So after the customer is satisfied and customer has given the feedback that yes, your product or your software product is correct, now you can go through the original software. So at that point of time, actually the design phase starts. That is the increment waterfall model. Here it is following. Only the difference between increment waterfall model And prototyping model is, see, in increment waterfall model, there is a phase feasibility study and then requirement analysis. But in between requirement analysis in prototyping model, you see that there is a feedback system for the customer, which we are making here. Okay. And after that, see, next phases are also similar, that is design, implementation, test, and maintain. Same thing. But here there is, we are making, after requirement gathering phase, we are making a prototype, a small prototype using quick design and customer satisfaction. So that's why, in spite of the availability of a working prototype, the SRF document is required to be developed for carrying out traceability analysis, verification, and test case design during later phases. So, especially for developing GUI part using the prototyping model, the requirement analysis and specification phase would be redundant, since the working prototype that has been approved by the customer can serve an animated requirement specification. So basically, the code for the prototype is usually thrown away, and however, the experience gathered from developing the prototype helps a great deal in developing the actual system. Okay. So therefore, even though the construction of a working prototype might involve additional cost for system with unclear customer requirements and for systems with unresolved technical issues, the overall development cost might turn out to be the lower in the prototyping model than that an equivalent developed using the iterative waterfall model. So in iterative waterfall model, we are not providing to the customer that the whatever we whatever software we have developed, we are directly giving them. Okay. But we are not building any prototype. So in that case, the cost, it is not cost efficient. Actually, the cost of the project increases. Whereas whenever you are having some cost criteria, cost efficiency criteria, so in that case, you will be using the prototyping model to save the budget. Okay. So that's why, by constructing the prototype and submitting it for user evaluation, many customer requirements get properly defined and technical issues get solved by experimenting with the prototype. So this minimizes the change request from the customer and the associated redesign costs. So this is all about prototyping model. So do you have any query regarding prototyping model, students? So these are the phases, like requirement analysis and specification phase, design and code. So these are the things which I have explained in prototyping model. So is it clear, students, prototyping model? Any doubt? Pratik, do you have any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Is my voice clear in this class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So any doubt regarding prototyping model? So I will be starting the next model, that is evolutionary model. If you are having no doubt, then I will start. Is it fine for everyone? So I am starting the next model, life cycle model, that is evolutionary model. So we have learned the first classical waterfall model, then incremental iterative waterfall model, and then prototyping model, and uses of prototyping model. When do we use prototyping model? And next is evolutionary model. Evolution, you know the word evolution means what? In C, in early early centuries, we know that we are actually, our ancestors were monkeys or chimpanzees, we know that, and evolution has changed them to human beings. Okay. So it is not a process of 1 year or 2 years, it is a process of thousands of years. Thousand or million years ago, we were all of you and all of us were apes. Okay. And after that, evolution, due to evolution, we have developed certain features. Uh, we have actually like deleted, it's not the correct word for biology, I am using this term for computer. So we have deleted some features. Okay. And all those things actually got obsolete, and that's why they are not part of our lifestyle now. Okay, so that's why this is the process from apes to human beings is actually called evolution. And day by day we are evolving. Okay, everything gets not only human being, every in nature every organism gets evolved. So based on that concept, we are using this evolutionary model in software development. That is, day by day we will be upgrading. Actually, evolution is nothing but upgradation based on the climate criteria, and also the like stay, what is that term, I don't remember, like I don't remember the term. Anyways, based on certain criteria, we have upgraded from apes to human beings. So similarly, based on certain criteria, all this prototyping model or whatever model you are using, you are upgrading that model, and that is called evolutionary model. So basically, the life cycle model is also referred to as, this evolutionary model is referred to as successive versions model, and sometimes as the incremental model. So it is also called incremental model. So that's why, see, I have written successive versions or incremental model. Why it is called incremental? Because in every phase we are incrementing some features. So that's why we have seen that, like whenever we were apes, we were actually physically strong. Okay, we can jump from one tree to, we actually, the apes can jump from one tree to another tree, and there were no such problems. Their digestion system was good. They can adapt in any situation. But year after years, we have seen that we actually become so rigid that it is very difficult for us to get used or get to adapt in some environment, in some new environment. Nowadays we are so much actually technology conscious we have become, that we do not take much more time to like we are bound to uh, technologies, and we are actually using technology. So we have forgot to walk, we have to go somewhere to because of this corona, everything is actually becoming obsolete. But earlier, or before the days of corona, we have seen that many of us were, we like to sit in room watching movies instead of going out to chit chat with friends or relative. We do not like, friends is fine, but most of us, we will see that if some relative or someone comes to our home, we actually nowadays we like everywhere with like that. So that's what I'm saying, we are actually evolving. So this actually I am giving, it's not for everyone, it, but I'm giving these examples for some of the people. Even I am also like this. I also like to enjoy my own company. I don't like to go here and there and ask anyone about anything. So that's what I'm saying, that every actually we have evolved. Okay, from a organism who is living in a community, because you have seen that all the apes live in a community, and they used to stay together, they used to hunt together, they used to eat together. From that mindset we have come, that we want to stay alone, we want to eat alone, we want to enjoy our own happiness. So in this way we have evolved. Not only mental thinking, physically also we have become, earlier they were very strong, but nowadays we became so weak, and we even only one day of, whenever we come to college, we do the classes, and afterwards whenever we are going to home, we see that we have no energy left. But if you see that early, we in like, not only about those apes, I'm not talking about them, but even if you will see that our mom dads were much more efficient before than us. whenever they were very hardworking working people. Nowadays, smart with hard work, one another word has added, that is smart work. So at that time there was no concept of smart work. So that's why they were very hardworking people. So that's why you can see that we have evolved. Okay. So there, this is actually, these are some examples which I am saying. But see, actually evolutionary model is based on those concepts. Okay. So basically the system is broken down into several modules which can be incrementally implemented and delivered. So here, the first we develop the core modules of the system, and then initial product skeleton is refined into increasing levels of capability by adding new functionalities in successive versions. Okay, so see here, the evolutionary model software development process is therefore sometimes referred to as a referred to as design a little, build a little, test a little, deploy a little model. Why? Because we are doing everything little, and after that we are incrementing those. Okay, so this is one. Once the requirement has been specified, the design the design, build, test, and deployment activities are interlinked. So if you see this, if you see the diagram, you will understand. See, there is an evolution happening. So we have, this is the code. Okay, so we have developed this code, and and here see, after this we have seen that we are adding one more module that to that code, that is module B, and based on that requirement we are again adding another module, that is module C. So this, in this way, evolution is going on in a software life cycle. So basically in evolutionary life cycle model, the software requirement is first broken down into several modules. So see, we have there, the total software requirements are A, B, and C, and we are dividing it into several modules. Okay, so we are incrementing that module, and basically that we are dividing this we are using this concept so that it can be incrementally constructed and delivered. Okay, so in each phase we are incrementing it. Okay, so the development team first develops the core modules of the system. So this is the core module. So the core modules are those that do not need services from other modules. So basically these modules are those kind of modules that do not need any other module support. Okay, so on the other hand, non-core modules need services from the core modules. So see here, this is the initial product skeleton refined refined into increasing levels of capability by adding new functionalities in successive versions. So each evolutionary version may be developed using an iterative waterfall model. So this is a point to note here. Again, we are using iterative waterfall model, but in a phase, in a concept of evolution. Okay, so see, we are again using iterative waterfall model for development, and see, each successive versions of the product is a fully functioning software capable of performing more work than the previous versions. So A can do, this is the core module, but whatever functionalities A is doing, this next phase is upgraded version of this one, that is what this function B. In this phase, B is getting added, in B module is added with A. So we are getting the functionalities of A as well as the functionalities of B. Similarly, in this phase, you can see that we are getting the functionalities of A as well as functionalities of B and functionalities of C. In this way, the whole incrementation is going on and the software is evolving. So that's why it is called evolutionary model. So see here, what are the advantages of using evolutionary model? So basically this model of development has several advantages. So in this model, the user gets a chance to experiment with a partially developed software of the system is released. Okay, so that's why we are using. Next is, therefore the evolutionary model helps to accurately
मैम पूरा कट गया मैम।
elicit
Ma'am,
user
sometimes
requirements.
voice breaking.
Hello students, am I audible?
मैम पूरा कट
Now
गया
audible.
मैम।
Hello? Am I audible students?
Yes, ma'am.
Screen visible though?
Yes, ma'am.
So see here, the core modules get tested thoroughly, which reduces chances of errors in final product. So these are the advantages of evolutionary model. Now disadvantages, there are many disadvantages of evolutionary model. See the main disadvantage of successive versions of versions model is that for the most practical problems, it is difficult to divide the problem into several versions that would be acceptable to the customer and which can be incrementally implemented and delivered. Okay, so this is the very big disadvantage in case of practical problems. Okay, also, so that's why whenever we want to subdivide a problem into functional units which can be incrementally implemented and delivered, evolutionary model is useful for large problems. Okay, so where it is easier to find modules for incremental implementation. Okay, so see here, evolutionary model with iteration. So basically many organizations use a combination of iterative and incremental development. So basically a new release may include new functionality and existing functionality from the current release may also have been modified. Okay, so there, as I said, that the evolutionary model is normally useful for very large products where it is easier to find the modules for incremental implementation. So often evolutionary model is used when the customer prefers to receive the product in increments so that he can start using the different features as and when they are developed rather than waiting all the time for full product to be developed and delivered. So another important category of projects for which the evolutionary model is used is that evolutionary model is a very natural model to use in object oriented software development projects. So see, if you see that way, or you all of you are using WhatsApp and Facebook, so you have seen that in WhatsApp they are actually using they have using the concept use the concept of evolutionary model. That means first they have released a WhatsApp. If you see the early version of WhatsApp, we can only in the first phase they have developed a system in which we can chat in real time. Okay, it will not take much time to give any user in any message and the any any sender, any receiver any message, and in turn to get back the reply. Okay, so actually WhatsApp is a real time is used for real time purpose, so that it in small very short amount of time you can get your reply. Okay, but in the early version of WhatsApp you have seen only chatting was there, no other features were allowed. Okay, after that they have developed some feature that they have added some functionality like you can send photos or you can send videos or you can send audio or you can send any document. So in this way they are incrementing their features. Actually they are using the concept of evolutionary model. That is, first they have built a core model. Core module is what they are, that core module is the chatting purpose module. Okay, to chat with different clients they are using. After that they are making some other features. They are using the video, they using that concept that they can send the video or audio or video or photos or documents. In this way they are using, so that the concept and they all these things can be supported by WhatsApp. Okay, so next, in the next phase, you have seen that now just few days back they have implemented that WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted. That is, whatever you are sending to the receiver, that will be hidden from any other. Like you are sending your message from yourself to some other person. Like suppose you are sending to B. Okay, you are sending that message to B, and if while sending the message another person, that is C, have seen that you are sending some data, and that person actually wants to read that data. Okay, so if that message hijacks, if that person hijacks your message, then there is no question of giving any security. Okay, like if you are sending your bank account details or some other things, okay, personal purpose things to your friend, then what will happen if someone hijacks your account or hijacks in the middle of sending that thing? Then what will happen? That person will get to know whatever about all your personal details. So that is not allowed, because in computer science basically we are with development, not only with the development of technology, we are also dealing with security issues also. So if things goes on like this, that means that is not a secure connection or secure or reliable software to use. So that's why WhatsApp has implemented much more restrictions in security. Like many things they have implemented. So nowadays WhatsApp is, again, I have seen like someone was saying that WhatsApp is charging money for using WhatsApp. Is it, have you seen that, students? पैसा मांग रहा है व्हाट्सएप अभी? आप लोग को कुछ ऐसा दिखा?
No, ma'am.
Students,
No,
are
ma'am.
you there?
Online
No,
payment.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
So that's why actually this is what this is, they are using the concept of evolutionary model. They are actually, they have developed WhatsApp, and they have developed in the WhatsApp the core module which is used for chatting purpose, and after that they have developed some more modules B, C, D in this way. And you will see that after few months or few years, you will see that in WhatsApp many more functionalities are added, and they have done many more things. Okay, so this is the concept of evolutionary model. Basically, we, whenever we are developing any kind of software or something, we use these concepts side by side. We are using incremental model also side by side. In evolutionary model, you have seen we are using iterative waterfall model also. So in this way, it is following the following this software development life cycle. So students, any doubt, any query? Is it clear? Students, respond.
No,
Is
ma'am.
it clear to everyone?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, I have completed prototyping model and evolutionary model today. So in the next class, I will be starting another type of model, that is spiral model. Spiral model, and after that, I will be starting RAD model. So with this, I will be completing this chapter. That is, all the software development life cycles model will be completed. But remember that I have given you an assignment, and that is already given few days back, and the last date is 22. So all of you should submit the assignment, and within 22, and Shuman has given you the link in Google Drive. So you need to submit that assignment in that appropriate drive with present in that folder. That is, you are submitting CA1. So there was a folder of CA1. In that folder, you need to submit your assignment. Okay. So all of you must write that assignment and submit within the deadline. Okay. So thanks. Thank you, students. So with this note, I am closing this session, and we will again meet. That is on next class. That is tomorrow. We are having our next class maybe. So we will again meet in that class, and we will continue some more concepts of software engineering. Okay, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, students. You can leave.
Thank you, ma'am.